Okay, guys, I'm gonna react to Halloween. Planet of Really Happy Halloween. Camp Toy Time.
Trick or treat for Halloween. Better give me something good to eat. You think he likes a read? Trick or
Oh, it's so adorable. Psych.
Hi everyone. Happy Halloween. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys back here next time. Make sure you subscribe and bye.
Bowling. Bowling. Tony Klein Art, Part 5. Oh.
You're still recording, you know that, right?
Yeah. Enough plushie, try not to laugh. No, that's the top 5 garden electronics.
I've done 2 lists on the creepiest animatronics of all time, and to create them I had to do some research in the field of quality robotic entertainers, and the proud history of them. And we've created a lot of stars, and we've discarded a lot of them, to the annals of history and people who are obsessed with the past. Like me, for example. So I'm here to remind you and introduce some of them to you, in the top 5 forgotten animatronics. Here we go.
Top 5.
Remember the Country Bears? Well, these guys are probably the human equivalent of them. The Hillbilly Band is a frightening group of animatronics who play the most southern music you'll ever hear. From a distance, they don't look that bad, but when you get up close and personal, you can see the scale of how grotesque they look. They were even put on sale on an auction site for about $5,000. Can you believe that? The movie Jaws put the fear of the great white shark into the public, and to expand on that, they made the Jaws ride in Universal Studios Florida, which opened in 1990. What consists of a boat ride through the waters of the killing creature. Despite having a very brief appearance, it's definitely a fright people remember. But unfortunately in 2012, Universal closed the ride, retiring the shark and its bird counterpart. Still, the legacy lives on, even if the shark does look fake. Now let's talk about Australia for a moment, and the workshop of Chris Green, a man who repairs and creates animatronics, such as Dusty D Dog, the alcoholic Aussie guitar-playing canine, who spends his time singing about his obsession with drinking. But that's not the weird thing. The weird thing is, he is a dog who owns a dog. It's kind of like the whole Pluto and Goofy dynamic. This one's an oldie but a goodie. And I mean really old. In fact, it was innovative. Electro, the Moto Man, created in 1937 by Westington Electric Corporation. It was unbelievably high-tech for its time, and it was presented at the World Fair with pride, along with its dog Sparky. This thing was over 7 foot tall, and was capable of performing 26 movements, including the ability to walk. It was kind of like the Asimo of its generation. Plus,
see. It tells you all the body about the body part.
Ballin'.
Also the inside.
It smokes like a badass. This #1 spot goes to the awesomeness of the Moonrockets. When you usually think of Showbiz Pizza, you think of their band Rockafire Explosion. But in 1985, they were changed for the alien band giving us the Moonrockers, featuring Princess Hailey, Quasar, Ork, and Oswan, with a different theme and a style of music, and just like that, they were gone. But there are videos of them still online. So I'll end this video on a high note and say, I hope they've gone back to their home planet and they're still rocking on. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and share. This is Max Media signing out.
Teletubbies. This will be the last video for today. So, there you go.
Children are known to be sweet little creatures that we all love to adore and be around. This is mainly because of their innocence and the manner in which they portray it. But we have also been exposed to situations where children have done or said some creepy things that we would rather not have heard. With this being said, prepare to be creeped out by these 5 creepiest things a child has ever said. Ready? Well, let's begin. Number 5. Lady on the roof. A 3-year-old was sleeping in her room when she started screaming. When the mother came to check up on her, she was still screaming and pointing at the roof and asking her mother to remove the woman from the roof. Later on, her mother was flipping through some photos when she came across the photo of her mother who had died. When the child saw the photo, she flipped and said that that was the same woman who was hanging from the roof. Number 4, Mystery Mother. This is the story of a child who always had dreams of living with a different family other than the actual family. The child kept telling her mom about a dream that appeared, an odd-looking lady always wandering around. So one day, the mother told him the story of his birth. She told him that immediately after she had given birth to him, there was a woman who was around there cuddling him. So when the mother looked up and saw the woman put him down and ran away. The description the child gave his mother of the woman matched the woman the mother had seen in his birth. Number 3, Yellow Eyes. A woman had a son who was 3 years old. The kid would look at her mom and say, "Mom, the very big man with big yellow eyes is looking at you." After which he would laugh so hard. He would then continue and say, "He's hiding now. He will come back when you're sleeping." One night the kid came and told his mom that the man told him he would not live to be 4. He would die and then she would put him in a hole. He then went on to say that she would also die and come with him wherever he was going. Number 2, Joe. A father had a friend who was named Joe. Joe committed suicide and his surviving wife kept blaming herself for his death. So she called the father to express her frustrations and how she blamed herself for Joe's death. The father replied that Joe loved her so much and she should never blame herself for anything. After he hung up the phone, the father went back upstairs to check on his sons who were fast asleep. But when he got there, he found one of the sons awake and seated on the side of the bed weeping. So he asked what was wrong. The sons reply, "Rick, it's not her fault. I love her. It's not her fault." Then he returned back to bed and fell asleep completely. Number 1, staring. There was a babysitter who was asked to babysit 2 kids when their parents were away on a romantic movie night. Considering the fact that it was nighttime, it was a pretty simple job to do. So she put the kids to bed and then went to the TV room to watch TV. She spent the rest of the night watching. When the kids' parents returned the following day, one of the kids told them that the babysitter they were assigned had in fact not watched TV the whole night as she claimed, but rather she spent the whole night looking at them while they were asleep as she smiled. Creepy, huh? And there you have 5 creepiest things a child has ever said. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it. And if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with newer videos from Top 5's Finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we...
And then this will be the last video he'll make for now.
Kids have a penchant for being creepy, which is yet another reason why so many children are involved in horror movies. But it's not just children on the silver screen that are a bit macabre. When
When it comes to artwork, kids tend to act on instinct. They draw memories or portraits of their families, and sometimes they draw things that give us goosebumps. We've compiled 5 of the creepiest children's drawings you've ever come across. So, without further ado, let's begin. Number 5, Pretty Girl Drawing. We all remember the days of elementary school crushes, right? You prod said crush with pencils, play tag, hold hands, and that's where the romance reaches its peak, right? But that's not the case for this young man. He's so infatuated with the girl who sits next to him in class that simply staring at her just won't suffice anymore. He must have a part of her to keep with him always. Somehow, the kid starts to believe it's acceptable if he just starts cutting off pieces of her hair to keep. Does he have a couple of strands he keeps in his pocket, or has he sniped off enough hair to make a ponytail? Either way, it's definitely creepy. Perhaps the teacher will eventually notice and save the girl the embarrassment of eventually becoming bald thanks to her classmate. Or perhaps the teacher saw his braggy drawing about his dazzling new collection and will contact his parents. One can only hope. Number 4, the tomb drawing. A lot of kindergarten and first grade teachers like to give the impression that their students will live for a very long time. I'm sure when a teacher handed out this sheet asking what each student will be doing in 100 years, he or she expected responses such as playing with the cat or knitting a sweater. But alas, young Graham was in the room. Being wise beyond his years, Graham realized that he would likely be dead come 100 years' time. But would death actually stop him? Never. Graham had other plans. Graham depicted a cemetery with tombstones. To the left is his very own coffin. Graham, the stick figure, is emerging from the coffin, dropping what appears to be blood. And there, above the drawing, is the teacher's question. What will you be doing when you're 100 years old? Graham replied at the bottom, breaking out of my tomb. Number 3, He is Risen drawing. Now, upon first glance at this picture, one can easily make a couple of assumptions. At the top and left of the page is a drawing of a cross. Below it is the sentence, He is risen. The child went on to repeat this line 3 times below that as well. Someone could easily see this drawing on a fridge somewhere. Clearly, the child who drew it is a fan of the big guy upstairs. But let's take a step back. If the child who drew this was thinking about Jesus or the angels, wouldn't they descend upon the earth from above? The only figure that would have to rise up is, in fact, Satan, or one of his many demonic minions. So now you have to ask yourself, did the kid who made this just have his or her lines crossed, or were they speaking of the Prince of Darkness? We may never know. Number 2, Mommy's Grave drawing. Father-son relationships can be challenging at times. Oftentimes the father will subconsciously put pressure on his son to take the path he wasn't able to. And oftentimes a son will do anything to make his father proud. But the father and son depicted in this drawing seem to have a very agreeable relationship. A little too agreeable. No, we're not discussing incest. This drawing shows the boy and his father dancing, literally dancing, on top of the boy's mother's grave. They're standing on top of a corpse, and they're grooving and jiving in a congratulatory manner. Several questions come to mind. Was this woman Medusa incarnate, or was she murdered by her husband? And what kind of a family life did this kid have to make him react to his mother's death by dancing? It seems no matter how you swing this is one creepy drawing and one creepy glimpse into some random boy's horror-inducing life. Number 1, Dear Valerie drawing. Sometimes a school crush will result in creepy habits, such as the boy who collected hair, but other times those crushes take a very, very dark turn. Enter a young man who's sick to death of little Valerie's attention. It would seem that some girls simply can't take a hint. So the boy decides to make his intentions clear by making a drawing for Valerie. At the top is a message, Dear Valerie, get out of my life. The words themselves are brutal, but nothing compared to the drawing that accompanies the text. It clearly depicts a little girl standing. Her stick figure body is headless. We see the little girl's head on the floor looking very unhappy. Between the girl and her body is a picture of an axe. To add insult to injury, the boy decided to mark the paper with dabs from the marker, as if to signify the splattering of blood. Love hurts. And there you have 5 creepiest children's drawings ever. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
So hope to
we
see you in the next video.
are
Goodbye.